Lillian. Oh, where'd you go?
Hold on.
Okay.
We're just putting in a new.
There we are.
Okay.
All right. Lillian, welcome to your bat mitzvah. Those pictures are just wonderful and precious and awesome. I'm glad we all got a glimpse into your journey up until this point where you will become bat mitzvah in front of our very eyes. You know, Lillian, when we first started working together for your bat mitzvah, you it was actually during COVID and the pandemic, and the shelter in place had already started. So we started meeting together virtually, right? Not at the synagogue. And I was really like wanting to tell you when we had our first meeting how incredible it was that your Torah portion, which is obviously thousands of years old, as you know, it is all about infectious disease and about quarantine. And guess what? I don't think anybody that knows Lillian will be surprised to know that Lillian already knew that. And then Lillian had a surprise for me. And Lillian said that even before COVID, that you said to me you've been interested in infectious disease and how to cure and how to heal and how to manage through crises just like the one that we've been living through. We always say that every single person who becomes bat mitzvah or bar mitzvah gets the Torah portion that was meant for them. But for you, Lillian, it was almost incredibly connected. And so we're all looking forward to learning from you at this time and being inspired by you. I know that you are over at the Mad Art Gallery with friends and family. I'm so glad you're surrounded by love and blessings at this special time. In fact, Lillian, your Hebrew name, you know, your Hebrew name is one that we said to you when you got that name. We said that that we would use that Hebrew name during sacred Jewish occasions in your life, and this is obviously one of them. And so that name, it's on the front of your prayer book that you put together with your family, with your parents, is Matana Mi Yuchedet. And as your mom told me with great joy, that name means special gift. And Lillian, that's what you are, a special gift to your family, to your friends and community, to CRC, your synagogue, and you are matana miyuchedet to the world as you become bat mitzvah. So I know the people at the Mad Art Gallery have prayer books, Sidurim. If you're watching on streaming on YouTube or Facebook, you can access a Siddur, the same Siddur that everybody has that's there in person, by going to the Central Reformed Congregation website and clicking on live stream, and then you'll see a link for Lillian's bat mitzvah prayer book. So having said all that, what I want to do now, Lillian, is ask your mom and your dad, Vincent and Tracy, to come up to present you with the Talit that you will wear as you become a bat mitzvah. You guys have the talis? Yep, there they are. All right, Lillian, go ahead and say the blessing for the mitzvah of wearing the talit as you help lead a service. Amen. Amen. So, for everyone that's gathered together at where you are, Lillian, and for everyone that is gathered together in the virtual world, we want to say what is obvious, which is it is good to gather together for special occasions, for sacred events like bat mitzvah, like this gift you're giving us, matana, this gift you're giving us by letting us lengthen Shabbat, have more holy moments on Shabbat afternoon, have more prayers and more songs and more love and more wisdom, because you're going to teach us Torah in addition to chanting Torah and leading prayers. So on the prayer book on page 2 is a song of how good it is to gather together, and I'll add especially in special holy moments like this. It's Hine Matov, goes like this. Hine Matov Manayim Shevet Achim Gam Yachad. Hine Matov Manayim Shevet Achim Gam Yachad. Hine Matov Shevet Achim Gam Yachad. Hine Matov Shevet Achim Gam Yachad. Hine Matov Manayim Shevet Achim Gam Yachad. Hine Matov Manayim Shevet Achim Gam Yachad. Hine Matov Shevet Achim Gam Yachad. Hine Matov Shevet Achim Gam Yachad. Amen. And Lillian, we're continuing with you leading us on page 3.
Yigdal v'yikadash mei rabba v'yamad yivrach kedurtei v'yamlik machutei v'chayechon u'v'yomechem u'v'chayedecho beit Yisrael ba'agala u'vizman kariv v'imru amen. Yehei shmei rabba mevorach Le'olam Omer Almaya Yitbarach V'yishtabach V'yitpa'ar V'yitromam V'yitnasei V'yithadar V'yitaleh V'yithalal Shmei Kedusha B'richu Le'ela min kol berchata v'shirata tush b'chata v'nehemata da'amiram ba'alma v'imru amen.
So, Lillian, I know this is not what you imagined when you imagined becoming bat mitzvah, and yet, whatever the way that we call each other to prayer, it is still powerful that you call us together. You call us together as a community today. You call us together to prayer. You call all of us together to be a better version of ourselves and a better version of the world as we continue with Baruch Hu.
את אדוני
So, Lillian, we continue with one of the wonderful quotes that you've picked out right in the middle of page 4.
Challenges are gifts that force us to search for a new center of gravity. Don't fight them. Just find a new way to stand.
Love that, Lillian. What a perfect quote as we lead into the next quote that you have, which is just before the words of the Shema. So if you're following along, we are towards the bottom of page 6.
Unity to be real must stand the severest strain without breaking.
Keep going, Lillian.
Please join me in chanting the Shema. Shai.
Yeah, go for it whenever you're ready.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad.
And you want to tell everyone too?
Please be seated.
And you can go on and continue with the Ve'ahavta.
Ve'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha b'chol levacha u'b'chol nafshecha u'b'chol me'odecha v'hayu hadvarim ha'eleh asher anochi mitzavecha hayom al levavecha v'shinantam levavetnecha v'dibarta bam v'shivtecha b'beitecha uv'lechtecha b'derech uv'shokbecha uv'kumecha uv'shartam la'oz al yadecha v'hayu ototafot b'neinecha uk'tavtam al mezuzot beitecha uv'isharecha Lema'an tizkaru v'hasitem et kol mitzvotai v'yitem kedoshim lelohechem ani Adonai Elohechem asher hotzeiti etchem me'eretz Mitzrayim Ohiyot lechem lelohim Ani Adonai Elohechem. Together you shall love Adonai, your God, with all your heart, with all your soul, and with all your might. Take to heart these words which I command you this day. Teach them diligently to your children. Speak of them when you are at home, and when you are away, when you lie down, and when you arise. Bind them as a sign on your hand, and let them serve as symbols between your eyes. Inscribe them on the doorposts of your house and on your gates. Remember to do all my commandments and to be holy to your God. I am your God who led you out of Egypt. To be your God, I am your God. We are a people who have crossed. I know we are a people who have crossed many seas, In every service, we remember that the price of freedom is often great as we sing the same words that our ancestors sang after crossing from slavery to freedom at the shores of another sea.
So we continue with a video now with our words of freedom for the Micha Mocha. If you're following along, we are at the top of page 9.
Adonai Sabaoth Shemo Kadosh Yisrael Baruch Ata Adonai Gad Yisrael Siyaham Bakukin Yen Cuencos Siyaham Bakukin Yen Cuencos Siyaham
Lillian, do you remember the old days back in Hebrew school when we had a service and we would sit on the floor and on the floor of the synagogue at that mosaic, and we always would sing this prayer, Hashkivenu, which is on page 11. And the central part of this version of that prayer says, everything's going to be all right. And we have to sing it like we mean it, because it's so important, to try to make things better. And you leading us in prayer of becoming bat mitzvah and all the young people that are with you do give me hope that the words of this prayer can become a reality. So this is on page 11. Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu Leshalom V'hamidenu Shomreinu Lechaim Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu Leshalom V'hamidenu Shomreinu Lechaim. Allow us to lie and rise in peace. Shalom. Allow us to lie and rise in peace. Shalom. Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu Leshalom V'hamidenu Shomreinu Lechaim. Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu Leshalom V'hamidenu Shomreinu Lechaim. Everything's gonna be alright. Everything's gotta be alright. Everything's gonna be alright. And everything's gonna be alright. Ufros aleinu Sukkot, Sukkot Shlomecha. Ufros aleinu Sukkot, Shlomecha. Cover over us tonight with a Sukkot Shalom, a shelter of peace for you, for everyone that's at Lily's bat mitzvah. A Sukkot Shalom, a shelter of peace over all those that you love and over the whole wide world, all creation. May tonight, the night you become bat mitzvah, be a night filled with shalom, with peace. Amen.
That was a perfect way to begin tefillah, to begin to enter into our time for prayer, which Lillian, I know you're going to lead just beautifully. So for those following along, we are on page 12. And at the top of the page, Lillian, why don't you tell everyone to?
Please rise.
Perfect. And now we have a video that will begin tefillah for us with the words that follow towards the middle of page 12. Lillian, we are towards the bottom of page 12 with another wonderful quote you've picked for us.
Families are the compass that guides us. They are the inspiration to reach bright heights and our comfort when we occasionally falter.
Keep on going. That was perfect introduction to the Avot Ve'imahot.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu Avoteinu, tired today. Eloheinu, Elohei Avoteinu ve'imoteinu, Elohei Abraham, Elohei Yitzchak, Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Leah, Elohei Rachel, Ha'el Hagidol Hagibor v'Hanora, El Olam, Gomel Asadim Tovim, V'konei Hakol, V'socher Asdei Avot Ve'imahot, U'mevii Geula L'bnei Bneichen, L'ma'an Shmo V'yachabar, Melech Ozer U'Moshiach U'Mogid. Baruch atah Adonai, Megin Abraham V'Ezrat Sarah. Together, praise be the God of our ancestors, God of Abraham, of Isaac, and of Jacob, of Sarah, of Rebekah, of Leah, and of Rachel. Praise be the source of strength and courage, the source of kindness and good deeds. Praise be the source of gentleness and love, of softness and kind words. Praise be the person who transcends strength through gentleness. Praise be the person who reflects gentleness through strength. Praise be the person who acts accordingly to the best that is within. Praise be the person who reaches out to touch the best in others. Praise be the spiritual faithfulness of Abraham and the valiant strength of Sarah. Praise be the God who infused humanity with divine potential. Atah gibor le'olam Adonai, mechaye hakol atah rab lahoshia, mechacher hayim bechesed, mechaye hakol bera'amim rabim. So make no flip verofei holy, umasmiach. I can't see. Hold on.
Doing great. Mechakel
Chaim bechesed.
Sorry. Mechaye hakol. Wait, should I just start from the beginning because I think that's going to be the easiest for me. Sorry about that. Atah gibor le'olam Adonai, mechaye hakol atah rab lahoshia, mechacher hayim bechesed, mechaye hakol bera'amim rabim. So make no flim verofei holim, umatir asurim, chayen emunato, Vishnei afar, michamocha ba'al geburot, umito melech mimit umechaye, umatzmiach Yeshua, v'ne'eman atah l'hachayot ha'kol. Baruch atah Adonai, mechaye hakol.
Lillian, I am so amazed by your resilience, right? How hard this is to become a bat mitzvah over the internet on Zoom, without your community around you, without your rabbis around you, and yet your resilience, your sacred resilience, shines through and is really a guiding light, I know, for you, for your family, for all of us. And so we move on to words of sacredness with Kedusha.
נקדש שמך בעולם, כשם שמקדישים אותו בשמם, כך כתוב היה נביאך, וקרא זה אל זה ויאמר, קדוש 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 אדוני צבאות מלוא כל הארץ כבודו אדיר אדירנו אדוני אדוננו באדיר שמך בכל הארץ ברוך כבוד אדוני צמאו אחד הוא אלוהינו הוא אבינו הוא מלכנו הוא מושיענו והוא ישביענו ורחמיו לעיני כל חי אני אדוני אלוהיכם ימלוך אדוני לעולם אלוהי ציון לדור ודור הללויה לדור ודור נגיד גדלך ונצח נצחים קדושתך נקדיש בשבחך אלוהינו מפינו לא ימוש לעולם ועד ברוך אתה אדוני האל הקדוש.
So, Lillian, we are going to jump a couple of pages. We're going to jump a couple pages to page 18 as we have a prayer for peace. We always end this section of our service with a prayer for peace because, you know, I know that you know this because I have worked with you and I know who you are and I know who your family is, but we always need more peace in our communities and more peace in our homes, more peace in ourselves and more peace in our world. So we join together in words of peace.
Sim Shalom Tova Uvracha Sim Shalom Tova Uvracha חן וחסד ורחמים עלינו ועל כל ישראל עמך שים שלום
The Amidah begins with communal prayer and it ends with a moment for us to have the prayer of our hearts. So if you're following along, we are on page 19 with a whole group of amazing quotations that Lillian has picked out for us. So feel free to read these, think about any of the quotations that Lillian has given us this far as we pause for a moment of silence before we take the Torah out of the ark.
Amen. To the prayers and to the readings, to the silence. You have provided us, Lillian, with so much holiness for this afternoon and so much reason to celebrate. But now we're at the heart of Bat Mitzvah service. And of course, the heart of the Bat Mitzvah service is Torah, is what you've been working on with your amazing tutor, Toby. And I know, Lillian, you and Toby it's more than just teacher and student, right? It's a friendship. And that's what the ideal is. In Jewish study, we have this notion called chavruta. And it means that teacher and student in the ideal world should become friends. And so I know you've really enjoyed studying with Toby, and I know that she's really enjoyed studying with you. And so this is the Torah service, and this is what you've learned to do, this really incredible skill and art in the Jewish tradition of reading right from the ancient Torah scroll. So I'm going to ask your mom and your dad to join you up at the front there. Whenever you're ready, Vince, Tracy, come on up and join your daughter. There they are. So I'm going to ask, there you go. Good. All right. Little choreography, right? So who's going to hold the Torah first? How about, you got it, Tracy? Go ahead and just sort of hold it for a second. There you go. Perfect. Is that comfortable for you? Perfect. So what I want to say before we pass the Torah to you, before your parents pass the Torah to you, Lillian, is this is a pretty significant symbolic moment. So there's two things that are happening all at once. One is we are actually your parents are passing to you a physical Torah scroll, the scroll that contains the first 5 books of the Hebrew Bible, the foundational texts. It's where the Shema comes from, that you chanted so beautifully, the Torah. But there's another sense of Torah. I call it Torah with a small taf, right? A small t. And that's the Torah that is all of the wisdom and all of the values and all of the experiences that's been passed to you since you were a baby, right? Everything that's been passed to you from your mother's people and your father's people. I'm thinking, of course, about your grandparents of blessed memory. I'm thinking about your great-grandma Lillian, for whom you're named for. But even further back than them, everything that has gone into making you who you are. But Lillian, there's even more than that. Because there's also that special part of you that is uniquely Lillian. You are a unique and special human being all on your own, combined with all that other stuff that everyone's given you from the generations. You are strong, and you are smart, and you are funny, and you have incredible skills and talents. And so that's your Torah. That's also the Torah that's being passed to you, is your story, is your scroll of everything that makes you uniquely Lillian, that makes you matana miyuchedet, a very special gift. And so I want you to feel it when this Torah is passed from your mom to your dad to you, and you hold on to it. I want you to feel all of the meaning of that Torah. And I hope it means that you will carry the Judaism that you've learned and will continue to learn into your adulthood, because now you're a teenager. You just turned 13 and you're going to be in adolescence and then adulthood. And We all need tools. We all need, we all need meaning in our lives. And we hope that for you, Torah and Judaism is part of what's going to make your life meaningful. And you have learned so much by becoming bat mitzvah. And so it is really an honor. And you've been doing mitzvahs long before bat mitzvah. I know that you've been helping out with the food bank, helping to feed the hungry in this really, really difficult time our whole country and world is going through. You do mitzvahs like breathing, Lillian, your kindness and your good deeds. And now you're going to be a bat mitzvah, ready to really even step it up a notch, and I can't wait to see what your future holds for you. And as one of your rabbis, I'm just so proud of you. It's been wonderful to work with you. And it's going to be wonderful for me to watch as your mom passes that Torah scroll to your dad. And Lillian, from your father to you. And hold on to that Torah. Beautiful. And take a deep breath. Just kind of hold it. Look out at all the people that are there with you. Take a look at your mom and dad next to you. Just take in this moment. This is Lidor Vador, passing this Torah, passing all of the Torah from generation to generation into your arms. And now I'd like you to make sure we know this is a time for us to listen to you as you chant Torah and teach Torah. So if you will, please chant again those words, those sacred words, Shema Yisrael, whenever you're ready. Your dad's going to get you a prayer book. Perfect. It's on page 20, Vince. Yep.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Echad Ad Eloheinu, Gadol Adonenu, Kadosh Mo.
All right, beautiful. And then with your parents' help, you can undress the Torah, as we call it, take the cover off and get it ready to be chanted by you. And I'm going to turn things back over to Rabbi Daniel and Rabbi Kiernan.
So we are about to hear Lillian read from the Torah, which I know she has been working so hard on. This is not easy to do. You should all know that Lillian had to learn Hebrew and then had to learn Hebrew without vowels. So this is something that she has been working really hard for and towards for a really long time. So yeah, let's get some hugs, and then if you want to have a seat. So we are on page 21, and we're going to call up some very special people for you, Lillian, who we're going to chant the blessing before, and then you'll go ahead and chant your first aliyah, and then they will chant the blessing after. So we are inviting up your Aunt Sue, Shoshana, I'll call their English names first, and then I'll call their Hebrew names. So we call up your Aunt Sue, your Uncle Jim, your cousin Aaron, and your cousin Alex for the first aliyah. Ya Amdu, Shoshana bat Lev Adi ve Yonatan ve Aharoma Sheben Yonatan ve Shoshana ve Hanan leben Yonatan ve Shoshana la aliyah rishona. And you can go ahead and chant the blessing before.
Baruch Adonai HaMavorach, Baruch Adonai HaMavorach Le'olam Va'ed, Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, Asher bachar banu mikol ha'amim, V'natan lanu et Torato, Baruch Atah Adonai Noten HaTorah.
A chance to sit down.
And up there until Lillian finishes the first aliyah, so you can do the blessing after. No, wait, don't go anywhere. Don't go anywhere. Stay up there. You'll stay up there because you have to do the blessing after Lillian's first reading. So just hang tight for a second, and Lillian's going to begin her Torah portion.
וידבר אדוני אל משה לאמור, זאת תהיה תורת המצורע ביום טהרתו, והובא אל הכהן. ויצא הכהן אל מחוץ למחנה, וראה הכהן, והנה נרפאת נגע הצרה at min hatzarua.
Perfect reading. And now, if your family wants to chant the blessing after the Torah reading.
You ready? Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan lanu Torat emet v'chayei olam natan b'tochenu. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Okay, now you can give Lillian some socially distant hugs, pats, whatever your family is doing, and you can have a seat. And now we get to invite back up your parents, Vincent and Tracy. And I know this is your day, Lillian, but we have to at least acknowledge that this is the first time your mom is being called to the Torah by her Hebrew name. And so in Judaism, this is a naming. This is her naming. When you get called up to the Torah by your Hebrew name for the first time. So it's an exciting day for both of you, and I'm really honored to be able to call your parents up to read the blessing before your next aliyah. Ya'amdu Vincent v'Tamima bat Lev v'Adiv la'aliyah shniya.
Let's start. Baruch atah Adonai habarach. Baruch Adonai habarach le'olam va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bachar banu mikol hamamin v'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah. הכהן ולקח למטהר שתי ציפורים חיות עטורות ועץ ארז ושני תולת ואזוב. וציווה הכהן ושחט את הציפור האחת אל כלי חרס על מים חיים. את הציפור החיה ייקח אותה ואת עץ הארץ ואת שני תולת ואת האזוב וטבל אותם ואת עץ הציפור החיה ודם הציפור השחוטה על המים החיים.
That was beautiful. The blessing following is at the bottom of page 22 whenever y'all are ready.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan lanu Torah emet v'chayei olam natan b'tochenu. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
I'm going to have the two of you stay up there because now we get to call Lillian to the Torah as a bat mitzvah. So Lillian, you also have a very special Hebrew name meaning special gift. And that is the name I am going to say as I call you to the Torah. Ta'amod matana miyochedet bat Vincent v'tamima la'aliyah bat mitzvah. So whenever you're ready, you say the blessing before the Torah. So you're going to have to set your yad down for a second and look at the blessing before the reading of the Torah, and then you can start.
Baruch hu et Adonai hamborach. Baruch Adonai hamborach le'olam ba'ed. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech ha'olam asher bachar banu mikol ha'amim v'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch atah Adonai noten ha'torah. V'hi za'al hamitaher min hatzara sheva pe'amim v'tiharo et hatzipor hachaya al panei hasadeh v'chibes hamitaheret b'yadav yigiwach kol se'aro ורחץ במים וטהר, ואחר יבוא אך מחנה, וישב מחוץ לאוהלו 7 ימים. והיה ביום השביעי יגילח את כל שערו, את ראשו ואת זקנו ואת גבות עיניו, ואת שערו יגלח, וכיבס את בגדיו, ורחץ את בשרו במים וטהר.
This is it. The channel.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech ha'olam asher natan lanu Torat emet v'hayei olam natan b'tochenu. Baruch atah Adonai noten ha'torah.
Wonderful, Lillian. Why don't you get some hugs from your parents for doing such a great job? I know they're very proud of you. And so I'm going to ask them to stay up there for just a moment. We are going to say a Misha Berach, but if you wouldn't mind at this time rolling the Torah scroll up and going on and redressing it while we say a Misha Berach. This is our blessing of healing. We say it while the Torah is out. It's really anybody who needs any little bit of extra healing that you're thinking of. So the words are on page 23. And so we're going to sing these words of healing while you all dress the Torah.
May the source of strength, who bless the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say Misheberach imo מקור הברכה לאבותינו. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say Amen.
So now we continue. Tracy and Minty, you can have a seat. If you've gotten enough love from Lillian, you can have a seat. And we are going to continue with Lillian's Havtorah. So for every Torah portion, we take something outside of the Torah that has a similar theme or message. So Lillian's, you can see, is from 2 Kings. And so she is going to chant the blessing before and then chant her Havtorah. You can follow along on page 24, and then the blessing after on page 25.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bachar b'nbi'im tovim v'ratzah b'divrei hanen ha'arim ba'emet. Baruch atah Adonai Habachem Torah u'Moshe Adam u'Yisrael Amo u'B'nbi'ei ha'emet v'tzedek. V'arba nashim hayu mitzorayim פתח השער ויאמרו איש אלינו מה אנחנו יושבים פה על אדמתנו. אם אמרנו נבוא העיר והרעב בעיר ומתנו שם, ואם ישבנו פה ומתנו ועתה לכו ונפלא אל מחנה ארם, אם יחיינו נחיה ואם ימיתנו ומתנו. ויקומו בנשף לבוא מחנה ארם ויבואו עד כיסא מחנה ארם, והנה שם איש ואדוני השמיע את מחנה ארם, כל רכב כל סוס כל חיל גדול, ויאמרו איש שלחתי, הנה שר עלינו מלך ישראל את מלכי החיתים ואת מלכי מצרים לבוא עלינו. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, tzur kol ha'olamim, tzadik b'chol hadorot, ha'el ha'ne'eman, ha'omer ve'oseh, ha'medaber u'mekayem, shekol devarav emet v'tzedek, al ha'torah ve'al ha'avodah, ועל הנביאים ועל יום השבת הזה שנתת לנו אדוני אלוהינו לקדושה ולמנוחה, לכבוד ולתפארת. על הכל, אדוני אלוהינו, אנחנו מודים לך ומברכים אותך. יתברך שמך בפי כל חי, תמיד לעולם ועד. ברוך אתה אדוני, מקדש השבת.
That was amazing. And now we get to hear your words of Torah that you have worked so hard on for so long. We get to add your voice to the many voices that speak words of Torah.
The Torah is a scroll of wisdom and stories from back in the day. It has guided the ancient Jews for thousands of years on what to do and what not to do. The portion of the Torah that I just chanted from is called Mitzvah, which means someone who has a disease. The focus is mainly on what to do if you have contracted leprosy. Leprosy is a skin disease that damages your eyes, feet, hands, and nerves. In ancient times, people knew a lot less than we know today about what to do if somebody contracted these kinds of diseases. When the Torah was written, leprosy was still terrorizing towns. The Torah told people what to do if they had leprosy. They didn't have any medicine to treat it back then, so people that contracted leprosy were told to quarantine for around 7 days. Sound familiar? After those 7 days passed, they were told to see the priest again. The priest would inspect them. If the infection had spread, they must return to quarantine. In that time period, unfortunately, men were considered superior to women. So if the woman had a child and the child was a boy, the woman would only be impure 7 days versus the 14 if the child was a girl. Besides the part about women and men, as we all hopefully know and believe, the world has been dealing with another infectious issue, like the Israelites did thousands of years ago. This virus is known as COVID-19, or coronavirus. Back in 6th grade, before spring break, I found out that there was an outbreak somewhere in China. I was nervous and knew nothing about what was going on. Later, I learned that it spread first China into other countries in America. This virus is now being called the coronavirus. People started comparing it to the flu. Little did we know that it was much deadlier. When we came back from spring break, we started online school. COVID-19 and leprosy are similar and very different at the same time. COVID is a virus and leprosy is caused by bacteria. Both of them spread through the population, but coronavirus spreads much faster. Leprosy still exists, but by now we know how to treat it. For a while, I have been interested in infectious diseases. I learned the different types of diseases, how your immune system is affected by it, and how each cell plays its part to overcome the disease. If we are to overcome coronavirus, then we must play our parts. One way we can play our part is by giving and caring for our community. Judaism teaches people to give and share what they have in abundance to people in the community who may not have as much. It doesn't say to give something you're in desperate need of, but it does say you should give what you can, no matter what religion you are. The need was always there. This year it is just bigger. It's very important that everybody should do their parts. For instance, you can contribute to your community by simply wearing a mask. Finally, we can contribute by learning about the virus. Don't pay attention to all of those false rumors and certainly don't spread them. Way back when leprosy was still rapidly spreading, there were also rumors and other misinformation. Sure, they didn't have the knowledge and technology we have today, but even with our modern awareness of germs, we can't just figure out everything at once about something we didn't know at all. The Torah really highlights the current situation the world is dealing with. The people in the Torah somehow managed to find a way out of their situation. The Torah teaches us this week that the more you know, the better. In a way, knowledge is power. Shabbat shalom.
Oh, Lillian. Wow. Just wow. On this sort of rainy day, you have brought sunshine to us all, which is sort of perfect for who you are. Your Hebrew name, as we all know, is Matana Meyuchedet, a special gift. And although we knew this Hebrew name was perfect for you all along, today you really showed us all just how special you are and how hard you have worked. You've put so much time and energy into today. I know this firsthand. From Shabbat school to Hebrew school, from learning to read Hebrew with vowels and then without, you've given it your all. And as one of your teachers, I also know that you ask the best questions. So I think it was a couple years ago, you may or may not remember this, and I hope I'm getting it right, but you asked me how Judaism understands the forming of the world, since science tells us that it was formed from swirling gas and other particles, which led to a very long, multi-day discussion about how we reconcile Judaism and science, which says so much about who you are and why this Torah portion was so perfect for you. Whereas someone else having to read and teach about leprosy might think it's a little on the grosser side, you loved it because it was about science and infectious diseases, which led to some pretty great discussions when it came to your beautiful teaching, which you just shared with us. So as Rabbi Randy said earlier, there's a reason you're having your bat mitzvah on this date, that your date has a special message just for you. Now, we all know that your Torah portion was B'Sher, that it was meant to be. So I'm going to talk about something else. I'm going to talk about counting the Omer. So right now, in the Jewish year, we are between Passover and Shavuot. We are wandering in the desert, having just been freed from slavery, and we're counting 49 days towards the time that we will receive the Torah at Mount Sinai. And so today is the 13th day of the Omer. Now, each day of the Omer has special characteristics or divine elements that are also found in each of us. And today's characteristics, I will tell you, are foundation and integrity. Lillian, you have such a strong core foundation that is bent towards truth and justice. This is evident in who you are and in who your family is. And I know this is only the beginning of you changing the world with honesty, goodness, and the special gifts you bring to all of us. So I offer you a very special blessing, the words of the Shehechianu, which says, "Thank you, Holy Presence in our universe, who has kept us alive and sustained us, and through one miracle after another, brought us to this moment of joy and celebration of you, Lillian." So we say, Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam shehechianu v'kiyamanu v'higianu lazman hazeh. And I am not the only one who wants to give you blessings today. We are now going to hear a video from Bob Rosenthal, who is on the CRC board, because we would also like to give you a gift from the congregation.
Lillian, I'm here on behalf of the CRC board, and I'd like to congratulate you on a bar mitzvah that I'm sure has been well done. I'm sorry we're not able to be with you in person to celebrate, and I give you all the credit in the world for doing this during the pandemic. You'll always have a story to tell your children and your grandchildren of what you've done through this pandemic. Rabbi Randy tells me that interestingly, that your Torah portion relates to leprosy and pandemics. It's very apropos. I'm sure you'll do a great job with it. On behalf of the board, Central Reform is proud to present you with a certificate that says you have become a bat mitzvah, and 2 trees have been planted in your honor in Israel. One will be planted in the majority Jewish neighborhood and the other in a largely Arab neighborhood. It's our hope that these 2 trees will grow together in a land filled with justice and peace, and that you will one day visit and see the fruits of all this that has been planted. Here's a copy of your certificate. In addition, CRC board would like to give you a tzedakah cup that you can use to put your coins in to help those people in need. Again, I hope you do a great job, and I'm sure you will. Mazel tov. Thank you.
So Lillian, you got those gifts. And really, it's just a little piece of how proud we are of you at your synagogue, and how happy we are that you and your family are part of our CRC family. So as Bob said, Mazel Tov, and I have been watching and listening. You, with that incredibly strong and beautiful voice, do everything we asked you to do to become a bat mitzvah. And so Mazel Tov from me as well. So your part is pretty much done, Lillian. You helped lead the service, and you chanted from Torah and Haftorah, and you gave us this incredible commentary that sort of tied it all together. But there's a little bit more of the service to go, and some special blessings to still come. And so hang in there, everybody, just a little bit. But I think you know this, Lillian. We never have a Jewish service without also having a time to remember those people who have passed away, that are part of our hearts and our souls. And so this is the time called Kaddish, which, like the Kedusha prayer that was in your bat mitzvah service, is holiness, and certainly remembering loved ones and remembering people whose shoulders we stand on, who, though they can't be physically with us, are still spiritually part of us. That is obviously a very holy thing. So this is our time of remembrance. And I know, Lillian, that you and your family have some special memories of some people from your life and your family who you'd like to say Kaddish for this afternoon and evening. So on page 29, can you please read us those wonderful names of those relatives?
Today we remember Adelaide Katz, Lillian Novak, Morris Novak, Maureen Joe, Ben Joe, Harold Katz, and Allison Bilsma.
We ask that their memories are a blessing. I know that they are, and will always be for your family. And now all of us who are part of your bat mitzvah know those names as well. I'm just going to add just two names. We obviously are thinking about lots of people from CRC and their family members, but we read their names this morning at Shabbat services. But I wanted to say the name of a rabbi who passed away a few days ago in Chicago. And he was a great champion of social justice and workers' rights and racial justice. And I got to meet him a couple of times. He's kind of like a hero to a lot of people. His name was Rabbi Robert Marks of blessed memory. So I'm honored to say his name at your bat mitzvah service. And also the most recent loss from our congregation was a man named Michael Kiernan. Wonderful father and husband and son. His parents have just arrived from Australia for his funeral service that's tomorrow. And like you, Lillian, his kids grew up at CRC and had their bar and bat mitzvahs at CRC. And I know a lot of people in St. Louis and at our synagogue are thinking of Michael now. And so with all those names of all those people kind of in our hearts and souls, I'm going to stand up. And if everybody maybe at your bat mitzvah can stand, if you're able, and everyone at home, if you want to, you can stand as well. So we can honor all of those who came before us, those we've loved and lost, with our words of remembrance, the Mourner's Kaddish on page, as I said, 29. Yitkadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabbah, Be'alma divra kirute v'yamlich malchute. B'chayechon u'v'yomechon u'v'chaye dechol beit Yisrael, Bagala u'v'zman kari v'imru. Amen. Yehe shemei Rabba mevarach le'olam olmei olmaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitchomam v'yitnaseh. V'yithadar v'yithale v'yithalal shemei dekudesha barich hu. Le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata. Tush bechata v'nechemata. Da'amiran be'alma v'imru. Amen. Yehe shlama rabba min shemaya. V'chayim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. V'imru. Amen. Oseh shalom bimromav, hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael, ve'al kol yoshvei tevel, ve'imru. Amen. And that last line of the prayer, as you know, Lillian, is a prayer for peace. So I'm going to sing that for all those people that we think of when we say Kaddish. Oseh shalom bimromav, hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael, ve'imru, ve'imru, amen. Ya'aseh shalom, ya'aseh shalom, shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael, ya'aseh shalom, ya'aseh shalom, shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. And we will continue to remember them. Amen. All right, so Lillian, because you're having your service in the late afternoon as it transitions to evening, and it's Saturday, Shabbat, your service contains a Havdalah service, a mini service within this bat mitzvah service. So I know you've got the Havdalah symbols. I don't know if we could maybe move them a little bit so everyone watching on the stream can see them. There's a candle. And it's a braided, there we go. Thank you guys. Thanks, Jen. Is that Jen? Thanks, Jen. So there is a candle. It's a special candle. It's a braided candle. It's multi-wicked. And we're going to light it in just a moment. And just like we light 2 candles to start Shabbat, we light 1 braided candle to end Shabbat, kind of meaning that all the terrible twos of life are supposed to come together because of Shabbat. You know, we're supposed to kind of figure out how to be more unified. And then just like in Shabbat, to start Shabbat, we end Shabbat with drinking juice or wine. And so on that Havdalah plate is a Kaddish cup with juice and wine, because it's been really sweet to have Shabbat and to have your bat mitzvah as part of Shabbat. And then there's an extra symbol that we don't do on Friday night, that we only do in Havdalah, and that's the spices. That's my dog Tipper. But that's the spices, and I think you get cinnamon, which is a really great spice. The idea with the cinnamon and the spices is that because Shabbat's ending, and especially a Shabbat where you had a bat mitzvah, we want to breathe in the sweetness of Shabbat and kind of carry it with us even as we end Shabbat. And that means you'll be able to have a great celebration of your bat mitzvah, but then we have to go back to school eventually, back to work. But we'll still have the spiciness of this Shabbat as part of our hearts and souls. And so, Lillian, if somebody could light that candle. There we go. And what I'm going to do, Lillian, I'm going to sing the blessings. There's a blessing for the juice or wine. There's a blessing for the spices. And there's a blessing for the flame. And if you want to just kind of hold everything up one at a time, like hold the juice up first, and then hold the spices up, and hold the candle up, and then I'll tell you what to do when the blessings are done, okay? So, here we go. I'm going to put on a special setting so I can sing. Here we go. These are the blessings of Havdalah, separating the wonderful Shabbat we had with your bat mitzvah from the rest of the week, including the celebration of your bat mitzvah. So it goes like this. Ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la. Ya la 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 la. Ya la 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 la. Ya la la la. Ya la 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 la. Ya la 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 la. Ya la 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 la, ya la la ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la la la. Hey Lillian, hold up that Kaddish cup. Hold it up. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, Borei Pari Hagafen. Yai lai 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 lai. Yai lai 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 lai. Yai lai 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 lai. Yai lai 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 lai. Yai lai 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 lai. Yai lai lai lai. Now, Lillian, you can hold up that spice, the spice box. You can put down the Kiddush cup and take a deep kind of smell that cinnamon. Just kind of take a whiff of it and hold it up. I'm going to sing the blessing for the spices. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei minei v'samim. Yai lai lai yai lai 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 yai lai lai yai lai 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 yai lai 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 yai lai 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 yai lai lai yai lai 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 lai. Now, Lillian, you can put down the spice box, and very carefully, you can pick up the candle and let us see that beautiful flame. Here you go. Oh, look at that. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei ma'orei ha'esh. Yai lai lai yai lai 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 yai lai lai yai lai 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 yai lai 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 yai lai 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 yai lai 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 yai lai 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 yai lai lai lai. You can put the candle down. There's one more blessing, and it's about the distinction between Shabbat and the rest of the week, between what is ordinary and what is holy, and somehow how they blend together. It goes like this. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam hamavdil bein kodesh lechol. Lai 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 ya lai 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 ya lai 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 ya lai 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 ya lai 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 lai. All right, Lillian, now you can take a sip of whatever's in that Kiddush cup. Is there juice or wine maybe in there? Take a teeny sip for all of us, drinking the sweetness of this moment. Now, maybe someone could come up and help you. You're going to take the candle. Maybe someone could hold the cup. Maybe, yeah. So, and then Lillian, this is kind of the way we say, all right, Shabbat's over officially. You're going to take the candle and you're going to kind of dunk it into the cup, and it's going to make a big sizzle. Can you do that, Lillian? Take the candle, yep, and dunk it. You can do it. You can hold it by the candle too. There you go. Beautiful. Well done. So once that happens, we sing a short song invoking the name of Elijah the prophet, Eliyahu Hanavi. You remember Elijah from Passover? Well, Elijah is also part of Havdalah, and Elijah is supposed to be the spirit of a better world, of a world that's repaired and healed, kind of a world that's more like Shabbat. Like every day would be more like Shabbat if we make the world a better place. Eliyahu Hanavi, Eliyahu Hatishbi, Eliyahu, Eliyahu, Eliyahu Hagiladi, Bimhera v'yamenu, Yahavo aleinu, Imashiach ben David, Imashiach ben David. And then on page 33 is a song we sing to wish each other to have a good week, a week of peace. It goes like this. Shavua tov, 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 Shavua tov. A good week, a week of peace. May gladness reign and joy increase. A good week, a week of peace. May gladness reign and joy increase. So I'll ask everybody over there at the Mad Art Gallery and everybody at home to wish each other and wish the world a Shavua Tov, a good week, a week that is going to be much better, Lillian, because we got to witness you becoming Bat Mitzvah. So a few more blessings, and then it's time for you guys to celebrate, and you have so deserved this celebration. So I'm going to ask your mom and dad to come up one more time because they have special words of blessing and love and pride and muzzle that they want to say to you. So one more time, Vince and Tracy, coming up and speak to your wonderful daughter, who is now a Bat Mitzvah, a daughter of this tradition.
Was Lillian? Oh, over here. Okay, well, Lillian. Oh, you can sit down. Unless you want to stand for me. First of all, amazing. Like everyone said, I mean, all the rabbis have basically said almost my whole speech. So I think that they've taken note of everything that's amazing about you and how wonderful you are. So I'm still going to do the speech, though you probably have heard most of it through the rabbis. Okay, ready? I want to start by saying here we go. I want to start by saying that I love how you embrace the importance of mitzvah in your life. You might not realize it, but you've been doing mitzvahs for years. From choosing charities instead of getting birthday gifts, to the joy you get when you do volunteer work. I know that it is not just something you're going to do just this year. It is something you will always have in your life, and that makes me so happy. Now, as I stand here today, I think back on the moment I laid eyes on you for the first time. It was 2 weeks before your due date. And we had gotten the call that you were born. Being that you were early, Dad wasn't able to get off work, so I drove 3 hours by myself to Decatur, to the hospital. I was completely overwhelmed, nervous about my life about to change. When I finally got to the hospital, in the room, the nurse brought you to me, and they put you in my arms. I looked down at you, and the first thing I noticed were your beautiful dimples. And I remember thinking, what is she going to be like when she gets older? Well, you've become more than your dad and I could ever have imagined. You are intelligent, you're witty, you're humble, kind, and fun. The focus and determination you have shown in this past year shows that you will accomplish all you set your mind to. I can't wait to see what is in store for you. So how have you changed my life? You've made it amazing. I'd love you to be your... His speech is a lot better.
I'd like to start by thanking everyone who helped Lillian reach this defining moment. We are very grateful for all the help the rabbis and teachers at CRC provided, and a special thank you to Toby, her tutor. I also want to thank all of you who are watching online or here in person. We truly appreciate all of your support. Lillian, your speech and Torah portion today were very appropriate given the events of the past year. The point you made about how women were treated differently than men in the story imparts your strong sense of fairness. You've always had a keen sense of right versus wrong. In fact, I remember that when you were much younger, you used to get upset at your mother and me when we would jaywalk when you were sick, when there were no cars around. You always wanted to wait until the walk signal before crossing the street. You are learning more about the shades of gray instead of strictly black and white in this world. But I love that you are not afraid to stand up for what you feel is right. I am so proud of you today. I know you've been really working so hard over the past year, and I was totally blown away when I first heard you chant at the first rehearsal we had a few weeks ago. You truly have a wonderful voice, and I realized how much I missed it hearing you sing this year when I first heard you chant the Torah a few weeks ago. Doing schoolwork, figure skating, volunteering, and preparing for your bat mitzvah during a pandemic is a lot of stuff for someone your age to handle. But you did it, and you did it well. You've grown into an inquisitive, bright, fun-loving, happy teenager, and I truly cannot wait to see how the rest of your life unfolds. My final words of advice to you on this special day are, don't be afraid to expand your horizons. Remember how this bat mitzvah experience pushed you to learn new things, such as speaking and reading Hebrew, as well as leading service in front of an entire congregation. Remember that when you put your mind to it, you can accomplish anything. Your mother and I have always known this to be true, and I hope you know it to be true today. I love you. Mazel tov.
Stay up there, you guys. One more little bit. Tracy and Vince, stay up there with Lillian, because we have some final, I promise, blessings. So first of all, I know that there's going to be a meal. And so, traditionally we start the meal with words of gratitude, and sort of the symbol of all that is the challah. Now, it was a great pleasure to deliver that challah to you yesterday, but I can't take credit for the challah. The challah was made by a wonderful CRC member named Judy Glazer, who has taken it upon herself as a mitzvah to make challahs for all of the bar bat mitzvahs that we've been having during this time of sort of shelter in place and having online bar and bat mitzvahs. And so she baked this challah with love for you, Lillian, and your family, and I hope you all enjoy it. And so I'm going to make the blessing. Why don't you hold that challah up, Lillian, so everyone can see it? Hold up the tray. Is it on a tray? Oh, it's on the whole. Yeah, okay. Well, I think we got it. There you go. Thank you. All right. So for sustenance and for gratitude and for all that we have and all that we share, this is the blessing. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam hamotzi lechem min haaretz. Amen. And you can have a bite of that challah because you've been doing so much work up there. I know you worked so hard, Lillian, so hard to do everything you did, and we're all so proud of you. And as Rabbi Kiernan said, now that we're transitioning from the 13th day to the 14th day of the Omer, and this is one of those days that really counted. And now I'm going to ask Rabbi Kiernan, Rabbi Daniel to join me so we can give you a blessing. I'm going to ask everyone that's gathered, just kind of put your arms over. Put your arms over Lillian, kind of like this. This is how we do blessing. So she really feels everybody's love and everybody's embrace. It takes a village, and you are part of that village, Lillian. So we got our arms around you, and we're going to give you this blessing. This is how we end every service. We want to make sure we bless each other, and we bless you, our newest bat mitzvah, Matana Miyuchedet, Lillian Hazel, right? Lillian Hazel Joe. So for you, this is a blessing. For the world, this is our blessing. Yivarechecha Adonai v'yishmerecha. May God bless and keep you always.
Adonai panav elecha v'yichuneka. May you take some of the light that you have sent out to all of us today as you became bat mitzvah. May you take it in and may you carry it with you during those hardest of times and those best of times. Adonai panav elecha v'yasem lecha shalom.
And above all, forever and always, we bless you with the most precious gift, the gift of peace. More peace in our world, more peace in our communities, and more peace in our hearts. And we're so excited to celebrate you, Lillian, becoming a bat mitzvah.
Mazal tov.
Simen tov u'mazel tov u'mazel tov u'simen tov. Simen tov u'mazel tov u'mazel tov u'simen tov. Simen tov u'mazel tov u'mazel tov and simen tov. Yehelanu. Yehelanu, Yehelanu. Uvamcha Yisrael. Yehelanu, Yehelanu. Uvamcha Yisrael. Siman tov u'mazel tov and mazel tov and siman tov. Siman tov and mazel tov u'mazel tov and siman tov. Siman tov u'mazel tov. Mazel tov and siman tov. Yehelanu. Mazel tov, Lillian. You did it. You were awesome. Have a great celebration. Can't wait till we can celebrate at CRC in person. We will have you on the Bima with everyone else who had their bar mitzvah this past year. But for now, great job and have a great night. Thanks everybody for supporting Lillian. Bye guys.